even regionally, that's what happens to you. It just happens. So you got to find a way to get on national television to try to beat out that clutter that you see out there with all of these options. That's why it's so hard right now to start a wrestling company. But, make a long story short, even with really cool and captivating characters such as the late great Art Barr, a famous American wrestler who made his real name in Japan with teaming with Eddie Guerrero, but he made his first mark in this business by working in Portland wrestling. And you have a guy by the name of Scotty the Body Anthony, a.k.a. Raven, a.k.a. Scotty Flamingo, who also made his name in GWF and Global under the Scotty, Scotty the Body / Flamingo kind of like gimmick that he was portraying, Johnny Polo, so to speak, in WWE. Even though they had these young stars that they were building, and keep in mind some of the old stars like Roddy Piper still coming in, they were just battling this huge mountain of national television and expansion of pro wrestling in the WWE and WCW / Jim Crockett Promotions. And although Don can continue to promote wrestling shows into 1992, it was then when he retired and he sold the entire company, minus the sports arena, to Portland Wrestling's referee and future promoter Sandy Barr. Now, the Portland Sports Arena itself, as well as a former supermarket building next door, which was used by Barr for the flea market he ran, according to some sources in Wikipedia, were eventually acquired by a local church. So, that really is where Portland wrestling comes to an end. Overall, I would advise a lot of you out there who have never seen Portland wrestling before, are interested after watching this. I hope you are interested and inspired. I know it's going a little bit longer than I expected, but that's how some of the Secluded Paradyme episodes are. Less little rambling, but a little bit more of historical information thrown at you with the shows to give you a lot of understanding about how some of these topics are interesting and also how important they are in the professional wrestling world. Bottom line for this, what I want you guys and gals to take away from this episode of the Paradigm is that there was a wrestling organization and real commodities in Northwest. There's been wrestling in Portland, in Seattle, around Oregon, throughout Washington, in Vancouver, British Columbia, throughout California. There's been West Coast wrestling is a very, very significant part to professional wrestling. I mean, one of the first tag team matches occurred in San Francisco, California, early in the 20th century. It's a major, major deal, West Coast wrestling, and there was no other organization during its time, during its infancy, that was as important, was as emblematic to the success of professional wrestling in the West Coast as Portland Wrestling, aka Pacific Northwest Wrestling. In the memory of the late great Don Owen and several of the people that came before, I dedicate this episode of the Paradigm to you. President Clinton of the In Your Head message board. You wanted it, you have received it. This is Portland Wrestling. I'm giving to you here on Secluded Paradyme number 17. For all of you peeps and peepettes out there who want to know a little bit more about Portland Wrestling, I have given you the link. Go to inyourheadonline.com to learn a little bit more about Playboy Buddy Rose and his great interview he did with the hosts of the show, Jack Incher and Barbie Richards, on the show in 2007. I will provide that link for you. And if you want to know a whole hell of a lot more than the information I'm giving you right now, go to some of the stuff where I did get some of my sources that are located at the bottom portion of Wikipedia .org. It's very, very worth the look to actually check out what Portland Wrestling is. I can tell you right now that a book and a DVD needs to be made about this organization, about West Coast wrestling in general. I know the WWE doesn't have tons of footage about it, but I would like to see some sort of independent director, whether it would be someone like a Brian Harrison who came out and did a documentary of World Class Championship Wrestling when only Kevin Von Erich had the footage. Whether that be a huge fan that was a part of Portland Wrestling back in the day when it was very, very popular and very, very important in syndication terms during the 1960s, 70s, or 80s, to come out there and just talk about it a whole hell of a lot more, brainstorm and think about an idea to actually put together a documentary featuring this organization. I know several of the key members of Portland Wrestling are not around with us anymore, but hey, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of footage out there, archival footage, that you can get on shoot interviews or you can get elsewhere to try to figure out how you can actually put this organization on screen to give it a proper send-off as Heroes of World Class Championship Wrestling was for that organization during the 1980s. So without further ado, I'd like to say thanks to everybody out there who checked this edition of the Paradyme out, an outside edition of the Secluded Paradyme, if you will. My name is Spec-Sun, Spectacular Sunset Spec-Sun, that is the name, of InYourHeadOnline.com and several other wrestling sites out there. Thank you all for watching and listening to the Secluded Paradyme. I am out. Peace out, peeps. Credits roll.